Okay, before we start with our RIOT inspection, we want to make sure that we have what we need to carry out and collect the correct data. Number one, we like to keep a small tool pouch to carry said tools. We're going to start off with our handy dandy NTS hail gauge. It also has a gauge thickness for the flashing metals that you might find on a roof system. Naturally, we're going to have a tape measure to measure any component necessary, i.e. shingles, pipe boots, flashing, but this proves it through the Hague system. We also have chalk, simple sidewalk chalk, to mark said damages. A pitch gauge, so we can determine the steepness of each slope. And of course, handy dandy 5-in-1 if and when we need to manipulate any shingles. Much rather use a tool to do so than our bare hands. Whenever you first open up the RIOT Applications app, you're going to come to the inspections menu. This is where you enter in the information for the property that you're going to inspect. In the top right corner, you hit the add button. You're going to go ahead and add the contact's information. Newly job successfully created. Open her up, select it. At the bottom left, you'll see where it says begin job. We're going to go ahead and start with the main structure. At the bottom of it, you see, at the top of it, you'll see main structure. Hit the arrow to begin. At the bottom, you'll see where it says begin, continue inspection. Select that. We're going to start with the exterior. As you can see, that's the middle selection on the menu in front of you. Simply tap that and just standard taking elevation photos. Go ahead, turn your phone into the portrait mode and get your elevation photo. You want to get the entire structure from left to right. I understand that some lots prevent you from doing this, but do the best you can. Okay, after that, we simply walk up to the structure and investigate for any damage we can find on that front elevation, scanning from left to right, right to left. From the roof down, we'll take care of the roof inspection. Moving forward, the main thing we're looking for here is any evidence of debris strike or hail strikes or any evidence of wind damages. Screens tell a story. If it has been any kind of wind debris or hail, you're going to find separation in the screens. Looking good. All right, well, we finished left to right on that. I'm going to tap the button on the bottom right-hand corner. It says collateral damage. As you can see here, if there was anything damaged on this elevation, we have several options. Additional components, door, driveway, fascia, garage, gutter, screens, shutters, siding, soffit, and windows. Of course, you know, if it's something that's not listed on here that you find a component on this roof, on this house, the structure is not listed below, you can do an additional component and add a note. But on this one, we're not seeing any damage, so I'm simply going to tap done. That checks that one off, as you see. I am moving counterclockwise around the house, so the next one for me is going to be the right elevation. As I spoke before, we want to make sure we get the entire elevation in the photo. And back to the inspection aspect, scanning left to right to seeing apparent evidence of storm damages on this right elevation. Do acknowledge some damages right there, but that's from something being removed. Feel free to add any of that if you want to bring it to the attention of the homeowner. But for right now, man, we're focusing on evidence of storm damages. Now, naturally, you don't have to use your phone and keep this open to investigate. You can, you know, put the phone to your side, investigate. Once you find any damage, take the photos to log the data. Again, I'm not seeing any evidence, obvious evidence of storm damage on this right elevation, so I'm going to tap done in the bottom left-hand corner. Now we're going to move to the rear elevation.
And for those watching, notice how the app is guiding Donnie to go to the next phase of this inspection and keep him on track and make sure he captures everything.
That is a great point, Ewing. You cannot complete the exterior section of the application until you have checked all these boxes. As you can see here, their landscaping and the work they have going on hinders us a little bit from seeing the entire elevation, but still want to take that photo and then again investigate left to right, checking for any debris strikes, hail strikes on the lanai. These screens are some of the one of the easiest things to get damaged, so it's a good way to start. Just like the front and right elevations, this rear elevation is looking pretty clean. I'm not seeing too much. I mean, another, if you want to bring it to the attention of the homeowner, it looks like an old anchor hole on that corner. Not storm damage. I'm not going to log that, but by all means, if you want to give a full property report and let them know of anything and everything on their home that may or may not be damaged, feel free. Again, I'm going to hit done. As you see, checked off all but one, the left elevation. At the front elevation, I brought up to you that you want to get the entire elevation in one photo, but sometimes the lot or other components on the property hinder you from doing so. As you can see, I got a fence here. So I'm going to do what I can to get this elevation in the photo without having to leave the lot. I'm going to proceed to investigate this side for any storm damages. Again, screens. If you can see that, there's an abrasion there from something. I'd gather to say how tight this area is. This is obviously a dog run, weed eating or something like that probably caused that. We haven't seen any evidence on any other of the screens, so I put my money on that. Another thing you can get in, look for is any kind of splatter marks on metal. Evidence of hail damage. Up in there. We're looking good. Again, I'm going to go with done. As you can see here, all the boxes are checked whenever it comes to the elevation exterior photos. Simply going to hit back. Now that we are finished with the elevation photos of the exterior, we're going to start on the roof inspection. We're going to select roof. And as you can see here, there is a picture menu of all the components we're going to check on this roof system. We're going to start with the preliminary roof evaluation. Number one is asking what type of roof system or roofing material we are inspecting. As you can see, this is a 30-year dimensional shingle asphalt. You also have the options for metal, tile, and flat roofing. Select that. Next, it's going to prompt you. It's going to ask you how many layers. There's a lot of information that you can obtain from roof inspection from the ladder. I like to call it my ladder work. As you can see here, you can see an apparent starter row and a shingle. If it's 2 layers, that means 1. The reason why that is the starter row is not considered a layer of shingle. You have 1, that's the starter row, 2, that's the asphalt shingle. So we're going to select 1. And of course, we're going to take a photo supporting that. Next, does it have drip edge? The answer is yes. As you can see here, standard down here in Florida, and most municipalities, drip edge is a code item. I'm going to select yes, take a photo of said drip edge. Next, as you can see here, it will not let you move forward until you hit next. It's not going to move forward until you obtain that information. Okay. Here's part of the reason why I keep a 5-in-1 on me. Separating this with your bare hands, 30-year shingle, separating this with your bare hands, you could cause some damage. The last thing we want to do is damage a roof system. We just want to inspect it. So I'm going to do my part to try not to cause any damage, but man, these seals are pretty good. I know I'm going to cause damages if I get too assertive with it. So I know we usually just call this ladder work, but I don't want to tear anything up in that area. So I'm going to come down where I know I can get underneath the shingle without causing any further damage to this roof system. We'll get back to that. All right, as you can see here, we are conducting a repair on this roof system as we speak. Shingle gauge showing it's a 30-year laminate. Done. All right, now it prompts you to begin to mark affected areas to continue with the report. However, this is an opportunity where I like to get all the data I can about this roof system from the ladder. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, go back into that. This is where you can add photos. This is what I'm going to add photos to the type of shingle. Reason being is we want to know exactly who makes this shingle. And one of the key ways you can find that out is the dimensions. It definitely narrows down and makes the process of identifying the shingle that much easier. So we have 39.25 length. Now we're going to measure the exposure. Exposure is on the part of the shingle that is exposed after the overlapping on a 30-year dimensional shingle. Definitely wanted to make sure your tape measure is up to the keyway here, going down. Done. Right. Another thing I like to add in this area, you want to know the pitch of the slope. Simply place your pitch gauge down, get to where you can see the reading, snap a pick, hit done, and move on. All right, as it instructed before, it asked to start marking and identifying damages found on the roof system. Starting on the front slope, I'm going to scan left to right. As you can see here, we've already identified some wind damage. The hip and ridge shingles are missing. Simply identify that chalk mark and move on to scanning the rest of the roof. Once you find damage, you want to mark it with your chalk, and then we'll move on. On this front slope, there was minimal wind damage other than this hip. So we're looking at every bit of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hip shingles missing. So we're going to scroll down to the number 6, select it. Now it's asking for a front slope overview. I'm going to get as much of that slope in there as I can. Take the photo. Next. Now it's asking to front affected unit close up. So they want a close up of the damages that you found. Snap pick. And of course, if there was more damage on this front slope, we will continue to take photos of that. After you get done taking all those photos, you're going to hit done. One thing I like to include in my overviews, and I did just back up into the option to add photos. I'm going to go ahead and identify the slope. I'm going to mark how many affected wind damage units there were. There were 6. That I did not find any hail. I'm going to mark 0. W for wind, H for hail. Moving on, done. I'm going to go back. Now we're going to move on to the back slope. But in this situation, we had 6 shingles just in this area that needed to be replaced for wind damage. 7 on this slope, select 7. Rear slope overview. I'll include the count this time. I know on the front slope I did this backwards, but this is how I usually follow up with it. Get the information. It is going to be logged, but I like to have it in chalk as well. Overview. Next. Rear affected close up. More hip damage. Increase shingles. Increase shingles. Another note, as you can see there, there's a bunch of wind-driven debris were underneath the shingles that we removed to replace. That is evidence that the seal was broken. It was pulled up and wind-driven debris got blown underneath it. All right, that's all the damage on the back side of this roof. I'm gonna hit done. We're gonna move on to the left slope. Again, please remember to take your time whenever it comes to inspecting these slopes. I know I'm running through this. However, we've inspected this roof system. Of course, we're here doing a repair. But make sure you take your time to scan left to right. The more time you spend on an inspection, the more thorough your report will be, and the less likely it is that you will miss anything. Again, I am keeping the camera on for demo purposes, but at this time, whenever you're walking the roof and inspecting, you do not have to have camera out, phone out. By all means, put the phone up. Be safe. That's of the utmost importance. Mark your damages, and then come back to log the information. Now, before I go into adding photos, I'm going to go ahead and identify slope. This is the left slope. We have 10 affected shingles, wind damage, 0 from hail. I'm going to scroll down to 10, select it. It asks me for my overview. I always take the information down first. Back up to see as much of the roof system you can. Take your overview photo, and then follow suit. Hit next, and get close-ups of said damage. As you can see, this hip here, this shares the front slope. So we've already logged this damage, but it is affected on this side, so I'm going to include it on this slopes report as well. Hard to see here, but if you look closely, you will see one of the upper laminates. The seal has been broken by wind, lifted it up, and over time, the crease turned into a break. Same thing here. You can see the remnants of that upper laminate. Here, it's obvious debris strike. Something has hit this roof and caused the granules to dissipate, expose the asphalt. Slowly but surely, erosion is going to do its job. And that concludes the damages found on the left slope. I'm going to select done. Last but not least, I'm going to move over to the right slope. Again, fellas, ladies, keep your phone in your pocket. I'm on a 612. I do the carpet on this roof. While you're inspecting and marking up, please safely put the phone away. Inspect whenever you get done marking the damaged units. You can pull that phone back out. You do not have to keep the app open to continue your inspection. Once you open it back up, it'll be where you left it. Same thing. The right hip shares the back. The right slope shares a hip with the back slope. Got about 5 shingles affected in that area. I'll mark that down to 5. And then hail. I didn't see any hail, evidence of hail on this slope. Following suit with the rest of the roof. We have an abrasion here. Another here. So I'm only seeing a total of 5 affected shingles on this for storm damage. Again, the first slope overview is going to be of the data we've collected. Hit next. Oh, kick me out. No worries. Overview photos, close-up photos. I'm glad it kind of did that. It kicked me out. I hit the button one too many times, didn't wait for it, and it kicked me out. Brought me back to this menu. Was I done with the right slope? No, I was not. So we're going to hit the right slope. We're going to go down, as you can see here. If you look to far right from where it says close-up photos, Gives you the option to open up your album, so you can add photos from your camera roll, which is handy whenever you're taking drone photos. So you can build a report from photos you've taken before or photos you've taken with a drone. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and select the camera. I'm going to get close up the damages. This could be mechanical being that somebody dropped something on here. This could be a manufacturer's defect. It's damage, it's not storm damage, but I'm going to log it down here as well. In my opinion, it looks like lichen that's been removed, but this is a newer roof, so that's highly not it. So this could be a manufacturer's defect or possibly mechanical damage. Somebody dropped the tool and over time, erosion did its job and it completely broke it away. It's not storm damage, but it is damage on the roof system. Log that. I'm going to hit done. Back out. Okay. Post inspection evaluation. We are now going to go into our post inspection evaluation. And it lays everything out for you. Okay. Total affected units, 28. General roof condition. And this is, as you can see, we're doing repair. This one did not justify a full roof replacement, so we're taking care of the homeowner's needs. So it's, as far as repairability, I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8. This roof isn't but 2 years old. Save. Going down, roof approximate age. I understand that sometimes you're going to, unless the homeowner knows this information, knows exactly when this roof was installed, you're going to give it an educated guess. Look to your superiors if you're new. But I know for a fact this roof is 1 to 3 years old. Granule loss, no deterioration. At 1, 10, it's significant. As you can see here, newer roof system, there's literally no deterioration in this roof system. So I'm going to select that and save. Outside temp. I know it's January and y'all probably gonna be mad at me with this, but it is a beautiful 78 degrees here in Southwest Florida. Additional notes, but do yourself a favor and utilize this. For example, earlier, whenever I was doing my preliminary roof evaluation, whenever we were at my ladder work, quote unquote, the measurements would have let me know if this was a discontinued shingle. That being said, that information you have to obtain, shingle measurements that are current in today's market. But if it was a discontinued shingle, I would go ahead and put that information here. I would put down that the report have proven that this is discontinued shingle, and any other notes you might take on the roof system that you need to jot down. It's a handy tool. All right, then we scroll all the way down. Look all the way down the bottom. We're going to components. The very first one is pipe boot count. On the roof system that I am on right now, we have a total of 3 vent pipe boots. So I'm going to select 3, hit done. HVAC stack, I have 2, 1 for the furnace, 1 for the hot water heater. Chimney count, no chimney on this roof, 0. Satellite dish, 0. Wind turbine count, 0. 750 vent or box vent, 0. And then the ridge vent length. This is whenever you break out your tape measure. Of course, this roof, even though it's 2 years old, the roofer felt the need to put back the old school metal tin, like 26 gauge ridge vent. Their choice. Brand new roof, old ridge vent. We have a total of 38 feet of ridge vent. Hit back. As you can see here, we have completed the main roof structure section of this inspection. I go back. As you can see here, there is an option for interior. I'm not privy to get into the interior on this home today. However, there isn't any interior damages, but this is the same concept as all the other parts of this inspection, the exterior and the roof. You're going to go in, you're going to take an overview of the room. You're going to take a close-up of the damage, so on and so forth. So that concludes the inspection. What I'm going to do back is complete this job. You look down at the bottom, structures on property. If there was a detached structure, like a detached garage, a shed, so on and so forth, as you can see at the bottom of it, a pool house. As you can see the bottom of the screen, or the middle of the screen right there, you have add a new structure. So you can go in and run through the same processes of the elevation of the interior and the roof inspection of a detached structure. So at the bottom of the screen, you can see where it says complete this job. Look, you see how it kept us accountable? It said that I did not complete my interior inspection. So see that right there? Inspection incomplete. You have incomplete interior inspection task for the main structure. So I'll go back into it. Continue job, main structure, continue job, interior. If you look here, we'll run through this real quick. Additional bathroom, additional room, bathroom, bedroom, bonus rec room, dining, foyer, garage, hallway, kitchen. And of course, you know, if it's something on that list that's not there, just select additional room. If you look at it on the bottom below the shutter button, you'll see no interior damages. That's why it would not let me on. The app kept me accountable to make sure I went in and logged all necessary information. And we're going to select no interior damage. As you can see now, the interior is checked off. Unless all boxes are checked, we cannot move forward. All right, now back to where we were. Going to hit complete this job. It says, are you sure? Once you complete the inspection process, you will not be able to edit any inspection information for this job. You want to continue. So let's be sure, guys, whenever you're doing this, if there's anything you need to add to it, say you have something on your camera roll from a drone, make sure we enter all the data that we have, because at this time, you're not going to be able to edit it. All right, we're going to continue. As you can see here, there's job details, a little summary, the property name, John Doe, the address, residential, job status, pending submission, claim number, non-applicable. As you look at the bottom, you have a couple of options. Before we go over to submit job, you can delete it, start all over if need be, save inspection photos. This will save them to your camera roll. Now, this is a handy tool, but to let you know, whenever we generate this report, you're going to have a zip file with all of the photos that you took during the inspection. Now we're going to submit job. This is a handy tool as well, a handy option. Whether it be you're inspecting a roof and looking to, it's an insurance job. If you already have the adjuster's information by chance, you can enter in the additional email here. You can also enter, which we always do, is we enter the homeowner's email here. So whenever we generate this report, they have it archived in their emails. A great way to supervise on the administration side of it. You can demand that your green beans, your trainees that are out there using this app, that they put whatever administrator's email into this. That way, as soon as they're done with an inspection, you get a notification in your inbox. You can view their inspection, and you can see, what they're looking at out in the field. Whenever it comes to the ROR score, which I'm fixing to get into, say, your new employee, Jane Smith, she's on a roof, it got a high score, it's repairable. You can vet that inspection right then and there at your desk or wherever you are remotely and let them know, hey, walk away. Let them know that we're going to check back in on them one day after a storm date maybe, but right now the roof's in good condition, but move on. Or, if they've got a report that they've turned into you and it's got substantial storm damages throughout the roof system and the structure, you can let them know, hey, Jane, it's time to call on that claim. Or, hey, Jane, it's time to get a quote together for a retail bid. You hit submit job. Depending on your service area, how good your cellular data is, you can essentially have this report of time. You throw your ladder in the back of your truck. Service down here in Cape Coral. It's loading up. As you can see underneath, we're talking about what photos.
Yeah. And what you're noticing here is Donnie's phone is competing with Zoom because we're recording on Zoom. It's piping all the data through, and so Donnie's phone is doing two things: running a Zoom call and uploading these photos to the app. So just bear with us while you're seeing this. This is not a typical experience. And by the way, the app works locally in case you're in the middle of nowhere on a roof. This will actually store everything locally to your phone and upload it back when you hit network connectivity.
All right, now that the information has submitted,
Gives you the results. The job was submitted successfully and your RIOT report is being generated now. Here are your calculated ROR scores. What is an ROR score? It is a replace or repair score. Now I want you to take it back to grade school. Anything below a 70, well, whenever I went to school, anything below a 70 was a failing grade. As you can look at the ROR score for the main structure, it is 62 out of 100. That's an F. It's failed. We need to do one or two things here. We need to A, file a claim with their insurance because we have substantial damage, or, as we saw up there, it was repairable, so we did a repair. But say if it was, not repairable, we would be filing a claim with their insurance, or we would be getting an out-of-pocket bid together for this homeowner. All right, we're going to go back to home. As you can see here, the top of my list, John Doe, report ready. I'm going to select that. If you look down the bottom left, you're going to see view job report. All right, email check. Your RIOT report has been emailed to you and the optional recipient. Please check your spam folder if you do not see the email in your inbox. I'm going to select OK. And if you look at the bottom, it gives you the option to view said report or resend the report. Sometimes later on down the road, you want to view this report or you want to resend the email and you don't want to go, scroll through your inbox. You have the option right here to resend it without having to dig through your inbox.
While Donnie's loading this report, it's something important to remember here. This score is a guide. This is not a industry. It doesn't come from anywhere but us. We used it as a guide. So Southern Roofing used it as a guide to tell their guys which deals to chase harder. It's not a fact. The insurance adjuster is going to have their own opinion. You're going to have to manage that conversation, but this gives you a starting point. If it's below 70, like Donnie said, it is very likely, based on our experience and other roofs that have gone through this process, that thing is going to get replaced. So it's not an absolute, it's not an automatic, but if it's below 60, for instance, then you almost have a deal, right? It's just a matter of who can get the insurance company to see that roof for what it is. So it's a guide, not a rule, but it'll help the customer realize they've got a roof that's likely to be approved by insurance, and it tells you as a sales professional which deals in your pipeline you should absolutely follow up with.
As you see here, this is the inspection report. Now, this is not going to have every photo you took on that roof system. Okay, this is a general overview of the findings of this roof system. So touching on what RIOT is good for, number one is a great training tool. Number two, it creates a uniform inspection across the board. And what you're fitting to see right now is the inspection report. This is the selling tool, okay? As you can see here, it has an overview of the front of the house, the ROR score, company's information. That's something that we can provide you. And of course, the address. Scrolling down, main structure, exterior elevations, front elevation. No collateral damage was observed. Moving on, left elevation, no collateral damage. Same with the right. Same with the back. Moving on, main structure report. Roof, preliminary roof evaluation. As you see, it's all got it. All the captions are on the photos for you. This is a lot cleaner and a lot more professional than sitting down at the kitchen table with a homeowner scrolling through your phone at a bunch of pictures. Not only do they have this in their inbox if you included their email, but I recommend pulling this thing out with an iPad. It's a lot better of a presentation. Okay, as you can see, the preliminary roof evaluation is layers 1, drip edge, yes. Moving down, continuing with preliminary. Shingle gauge, 30-year asphalt shingle. And we move on to the roof. As you can see, the overview is there. There's an overview and then a close-up of the storm damages found. Now, we all know that we took several photos, but those aren't on here. As I said before, this is a general overview. Same with the back, main structure roof, close-up of the damages, so on and so forth. Then we get down to the data we entered. Total affected units, 28. General roof condition, 8 out of 10. Age of roof, between 1 to 3 years. Granule loss, 1. Outside temperature. And of course, the roof component count. Moving on, more components. Main structure interior, saying that there was no damages observed in the interior. That completes the report. Of course, it would go on more if you had more damages to report as far as the detached structure. Whenever I X out of this, I want to show you. I go into my inbox. Forgive me. Very top of my email is the RIOT report. As you can see at the bottom of my email, that is the PDF. That is what we just viewed, the inspection report. If you look right there, it says download RIOT photo report. All right, there's their zip file. I'm gonna open that. As you can see at the very top. There we go. And now this zip file, it's already zipped down, so it's easy for you to email. There is every photo I took during the inspection. You can share this with the homeowner. You can share this with the carrier. You can save all these. It's pretty handy. That. And as I said before, if you go back into the application, you don't feel like digging that up. If you look at the bottom right, you can resend the report. When you go home, understand that you have all of your inspections archived until you delete them. And that concludes the presentation for this structure inspection report. One of the key points whenever it comes to the RIOT inspection app is a great training tool.
All right, that concludes our report today. Reminder, RIOT will help you win 30% more roofs by consolidating information, presenting it in a professional way, motivating the homeowner to understand what's wrong with their roof, managing the conversation with the insurance adjuster, and making sure your entire company does everything the same way. Thanks for watching.